Well, hello, my name is Brian Brammer. I am co-owner of Tangerine Games. My business partner is Brandon Omi, who is also the designer of our flagship title, Nestlings, which is actually in fulfillment right now. We formed Tangerine Games in November of 2022, and we have Peaks is our, second campaign that we're launching. It's got like 9 days left on Kickstarter, creeping up close to $150,000 raised. So thank you so much for those who've helped in that endeavor. Earlier this spring, we actually acquired the rights to Megapulse, an IP by Nicholas Formier, who's living up in Canada, and he has kind of transferred the rights over to us so that we can help backers receive their games. This is a campaign that funded in 2021 around December and has had a couple snags, but Brandon worked on some of the videography, some of the graphic design, and really loved the game. And so we decided to meet with Nicholas and talk about how we can help backers receive the game. And so I kind of wanted to explain a little bit of that transaction, as well as a lot of some confusion that has come up since the Pledge Manager has been launched. So I'm going to give you kind of a little bit of a journey, where we're at now, what our plans are, because you deserve an answer. So recently we launched the Pledge Manager for Megapulse. We actually opened late pledges maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, and so the goal there was to try to garner some renewed interest, since it had been maybe 2.5, coming upon 3 years since the game was really a buzz in the board gaming industry. And so we kind of wanted to get that momentum going, but at the same time work some details out with Nicholas. And so he's definitely helped us finalize some files, and helped us kind of push forward with a plan that we have for fulfilling the base game and everything else that goes with it. So when we launched the late pledge, we kind of opened it up to some new retailers, able to just kind of get a little more money to help us fulfill the game, because we are actually fulfilling it from our pockets. And so basically what that means is the money was all gone from the Kickstarter. The art has been paid. Nicholas even dug into his pockets to make sure all the artists were paid, all their artwork was done, the graphic design was done. And so the game definitely required more funds than what was raised 2.5 years ago. And so we've decided to take that over. Nicholas kind of really wanted some help, and he's wanting to move on, design some other games, and just kind of get Megapulse out there into the masses for people to play. And so we've come alongside him to take ownership of the game, to also take ownership of the Crunchy Lemons game brand, which we'll be announcing very shortly here. We have some details to work out. So with that, though, there was no transfer of funds. And so the money from Kickstarter, the backers' money, that has all been spent on art and marketing and other things. But now we have to actually manufacture the game, and there's no more money left. So Tangerine Games, Brandon and I are taking the money that we have made, just through some extra funds. He does a lot of awesome graphic design stuff on the side, and some of our own funds to make sure that backers get Megapulse. It's an awesome game. So that is coming from our own funds, and not like no hero story or bragging, but we want you guys to have this, and we feel that we've been blessed and put in a position to make that happen. So what that means is any money that backers pay during the campaign, it's no longer there. It's all gone. To a certain extent, it has been mismanaged. Whether it was just under mathematics, I don't know what the word would be, not scaling properly to how much it was going to cost and that type of stuff. And it happens. It's just a part of the process. And so when we launched the Pledge Manager on Hive, so we had the late pledges, and now we're open to Pledge Manager. This is for backers to provide us their shipping information. So when the games are manufactured, we can send them to you, but also to pay shipping and VAT tax. So whether Nicholas was going to do the funding of the fulfillment of the game, or Tangerine Games, or any other publishing company that was going to come alongside him, whoever is fulfilling, the backer was always going to be paying shipping. And I understand this kind of, I don't know, it feels like it's pouring salt on an open wound because you had paid money and you haven't really gotten your game and it's close to 3 years later. So it seems like a cash grab. It's not. So what happens is any credits that were in Hive, those are credits between the backer and the original designer, which was Nicholas. Since Tangerine Games is fulfilling, we need to pay the Postal Service cash for fulfillment, for delivery. And the Postal Service doesn't take credits. Your credits went to the original designer, where the shipping money goes to our fulfillment partners. So we can't pay the credits, we can't use the credits to pay for shipping, which is cash. So even if we could, we couldn't. Even if we wanted to, we couldn't, because again, those are credits that have been attributed to your pledge based on what you gave during the campaign. And as I've mentioned before, that money is gone. So I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow for sure. And so when we opened the pledge manager, nothing was accounted for in regard to that. This was a special situation, so that's on me for not making sure all of that was tracked properly. So we kind of got things situated. 2 days later, we launched the Pledge Manager. Again, we opened it back up, so many of you got a repeat email. And so what we're asking for is this. This first print run, we are publishing the base game only, and the free Conductor expansion that everybody was going to get is actually going to be included in the base game box. So you're going to get one item. And so what that means is if you pledged the Veteran, if you pledged any other tier, I can't remember them off the top of my head, in which you got the Soul Flux expansion, Top Speed, Synth Pump, all of that is going to be fulfilled in a second print run. And so we're going to have a second Megapulse campaign. And in that, we're going to offer everything that was in the first campaign. But you, the backer, if you have pledged more than the base game, we are keeping track of that information. So you're not going to have to buy that again. It's going to be credited to you. And basically, these credits are now between you, the backer, and Tangerine Games. So now we're able to do that. So you are going to get credits for that. You're also not going to be forced to pay shipping for that product, since we're the ones that are dividing the fulfillment into a first wave and a second wave. So we're keeping track of that. If you maybe did the Veteran Pledge, which means you get Soul Flux and the base game and the expansions, you will get Soul Flux. The reason we're doing it this way is those art files still aren't ready, and we want to get you the game as soon as possible so you can be playing the base game with your friends and your loved ones. And so we felt the best way to do that is to go with a limited print run for the base game and then get the other products to you at a later date. And we will have a Megapulse campaign. If we don't, for some chance, have a Megapulse campaign, we will still then do a print run so that you will get your Soul Flux and all the stuff that you paid for. Okay, so you are going to get what you pay for. This is just an interesting thing. So again, this is a lot longer than intended to be, but I just felt like it was easier. I've posted several updates in Discord, a Facebook group, updates on the Kickstarter, our page, so many different places, emails, and so I felt like this was the best avenue to go to explain things further. And I've probably even missed some things. So just note that right now, your credits, if you had 85 credits, you now have 49 in Hive. That's just so that we can close out these games, to verify your account, and then export the information to our fulfillment centers so that when production is done, they have everything they need to get you your game. In reality, you have 85 credits, but in Hive, you have 49. So like I said, we are tracking this separately, but we do need you to pay the shipping because that's just a cost that we can't afford right now because we're printing this game from our own pocket. So we feel like it's not too much to ask for backers to pay shipping and the VAT tax, which is something, if this game had funded a year ago, it was still something the backers were responsible for doing. That's always been the case, no matter what campaign you have run. I'm sure many of you have done Kickstarters have seen shipping and VAT and taxes is a responsibility of the backer, and we can kind of give some discounts here or there if we feel like it's necessary. So nothing new is there. So all of that to say, if it feels like you're being asked for more money when you've been waiting on the game for 3 years, that money's not going to anybody. It's not going to Tangerine Games. It's not going to Nicholas. It's not going to anyone's pocket for profit. It's solely so that we can get the games from point A to point B. So that's all that. The second thing I wanted to mention was the production was going to start, I think we said spring or summer, mass production. So we're working out, we've got all the files and we're doing all the preliminary stuff now. It's interesting, all the preliminary stuff is what takes so long. To actually mass produce a game, so like for Nestlings, to mass produce, gosh, 7,000 copies, really only took a matter of 3 or 4 weeks. It's just all the stuff that goes into it, like minis, the miniatures, proofing, it's just a lot of stuff. Even when we get samples of the game, it takes a week for us to get a sample. And then we have to make adjustments and go from there. So the mass production is actually the shortest amount of time. And then, from the games going to the boats, to the fulfillment centers and so on, that can be unpredictable. So like I said, around spring or summer, mass production would start. There is a chance, I don't want to say this because I feel like I'm going to get destroyed if it doesn't happen, but what the heck. We have prioritized Megapulse. Nestlings sales are going really well. And when I say Nestlings sales, I don't mean money from the campaign. It's sales into retail from other distributors and retailers. So we're not using Nestlings money for other stuff. This doesn't pertain to you because you probably didn't even know what Nestlings was. It's a small little bird. Anyway, it's also a board game, awesome board game. So our goal is we've kind of prioritized Megapulse. And we're really, really hoping to begin production into this year. That's our goal, and we hope that brings you joy. We're not 100% guaranteed. Again, there's some things outside of our control, but that's how we're pursuing. And then we have a certain print run we'll do. If you do not provide your we're gonna have a longer runway, but if you don't provide your shipping, your address and pay for shipping and VAT and that type of stuff, we're still gonna order your game because you've paid for it. But there will be a certain statute of limitations as far as if we don't hear from you or if we don't get updated information or shipping within a 6 months time, we will have to perhaps sell that game into distribution rather than just kind of holding it in the warehouse, because that ends up costing us money. So that's just kind of the nature of how things go. We're definitely it's definitely gonna be longer than 6 months because we understand you've been waiting for so much longer. So we want to give you the benefit of the doubt. Many of you have forgotten about the game, and so hopefully this kind of sparked your interest in it. If you're no longer interested in the game, unfortunately we can't give refunds because, as said earlier in the video, Tangerine Games doesn't have your money. So if we refunded it, we would be giving you our money. And that money needs to go to production, producing the game. So my advice, my best route would be for us to send you the game, and then perhaps you can sell it if you're no longer interested in it. You could donate it. But again, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your funds, with your game. So to avoid all this, though, if you could please go to the Pledge Manager. You've all received an invite. If you haven't, feel free to email me, brian@tangerine.games, and we'll get it all worked out. What we'll do with that is we will... You'll pay your shipping, you'll provide your address, pay any VAT taxes that you owe. Many of you may not owe it, but some of you will. Those who pay VAT tax knows they will. They know all about it. And you'll be good to go. And we'll keep you updated on everything. So it's been really tough trying to keep everyone updated on these different platforms. We are working on a platform to where we can update everyone, which will probably be off of the Kickstarter page. So we'll probably move away from that because I think people have forgotten about the campaign. The page is almost 3 years old. So we're going to try to move that communication to a different media. And I've talked to a bunch of you guys on Discord, but we would definitely want that conversation maybe happening on the Tangerine Games Discord just to make a complete transfer of the intellectual property. So yeah, anyway, that's a long video, more longer than you asked for, but I definitely thought you guys were owed it. So we'll keep you updated as much as possible. We're going to be at Gen Con in 2 weeks. We're going to be at the Lucky Duck booth from 11 to 3, Thursday through Sunday. Brandon's going to be there demoing the game, signing it for people who are going to purchase it. And yeah, it's just going to be exciting. But please come up and say hey. We'd love to meet the Megapulse company, welcome you into the Tangerine Games fold, which at this point, it might be a game that is actually launched by Crunchy Lemon Games. Depends on how we use that brand, as we've also acquired that from Nicholas. So a lot of cool things happening with Brandon and I. We appreciate your patience. As we know, this has not been easy. It's been confusing. Some of you are mad, and we understand. We want a positive community. Being mad is okay. Being disrespectful and unkind is not okay. So it's something we won't tolerate. But being mad and angry and frustrated is okay. It's a human emotion that is appropriate to have in certain circumstances. So we get it. We hear you. So anyway, this is Brian signing out for Tangerine Games. Hope to see you guys very soon, hopefully in person. And we'll talk to you later. All right. See ya.